Hey friends, Shane here with Modern Warrior Project, and in this video I'm going to cover a couple things. First off, I want to talk about a system that I've utilized to start organizing all my extra survival gear. Talking like fire kits, water, survival, things like that, and I'll go more into it. Second part is I'm going to share with you one of those kits and just kind of the extra content I have in there, and I'll walk you through it, and that's my fire kit container. So before I move into going through the actual contents, let me talk about the organizational system that I settled on. I don't know if you had the problem, but for years I struggled with keeping all of my extra equipment and gear organized. Obviously, when, like, let's say Firecraft, obviously I'm gonna pack all of my loadout gear and my various bug out bags. Those have their fire kits installed already. But for me, I acquire a lot more extra equipment and gear, whether it's testing and just in general, I just acquire this stuff. And that is where I struggled, was the organizational process. I went through a number of different techniques over the years. Right before this, the best I'd come up to was keeping them in kind of a typical, your Tupperware, large Tupperware container by type or category. But even that had its drawbacks, because then I'm opening up a Tupperware container full of a bunch of fire kit. There's no organizational system to that. So when I discovered these are called, I think, workstations or work boxes. And when I discovered these, game changer for me. This one here is a Bauer, which I picked up at Harbor Freight. This is actually, surprisingly, being Harbor Freight, one of the more expensive ones I have. This is the only one I have like this. Most of mine, I got really good lucky deal on Sam's one time. I was just on there shopping and online, and I saw, I think they're Craftsman, but it's basically the same setup. I've got a few varieties. They all look similar in concept. There's a lot of different brands out there. And basically, it's just a tiered tiered setup of cases that are towered together, and inside those, you can organize your equipment even further. So this one here that I'm gonna show you today and share with you is my fire kit. Quick fair warning, I don't go through this all the time. The way I use these is, if I test something, I'll put it in here. If we go out and we use some of our kit in my bag, or I'm testing any of my normal stuff, or I expend my stuff, then I'll come right here and I'll kind of find what I want to replace it with. Or if I just want to change something out, I'll come here and I'll change it out. Likewise, if I'm putting together a new kit or a new bag for whatever reason, it's all already organized. I know all my fire stuff is right here. All my water stuff is in that one, my navigation stuff. Now, obviously this doesn't work for a lot of your larger things. I don't have one for sleeping bags per se, or some of your larger equipment. I do have a shelters focused one, but it doesn't have my actual tents and shelters. What it has is like some tarps and a lot of the different miscellaneous accessories that we would use with shelter making. So you get the idea. If it works for you, employ it towards your specific needs. But I love them and thought I'd share them with you. So, and today I'm going to go ahead and actually go through my fire kit, which is one of my favorites, because I like fire, not in a arsonist type of way, but I do enjoy just the art of Firecraft. So, fair warning, as I said, I don't go through these all the time, and some of this stuff might surprise me, or I might forget what's in here altogether. So, in the top of the kit, I'll open this up, show you. So we got a lot of different little containers, and I have a variety of things in here. I have a couple of these, which are kind of neat little fire tool that you can use. What you do is you soak like alcohol. You just put alcohol in here and soak them. And this isn't soaked right now, or it's dried up. And when this is soaked and and it hasn't dried up, you can just light this block, stick it right there, and ignite your tinder or fuel kindling and all of that. I'd say you don't need tinder that acts as your tinder. You can ignite straight to your kindling, and even to some extent some of your smaller fuel, because it will burn for a good bit. When it's done, you just blow it out, put it right back in there. It's good for numerous uses. So I have a few of those. In here I have a lot of different extra cases just to make kits. This I think is empty. So I can do a lot. Another thing I do is I collect Zens or chewing tobacco containers, because these make, you can use these for a lot of different things. Some of these I'm sure, let me see which ones I have have stuff in them. Like this one I think is probably just little tender type stuff. I don't know why I'm holding it down there. Little tender type stuff. You can, you know, Vaseline soaked gauze. A lot of different things you can put in these and utilize them. Same thing with your Zen type packages. The thing I like about the Zens and some of the other ones, or maybe Zen doesn't do it, Velo does, is that they also have a top compartment. That's where you put the old ones at. But if you're using it for this purpose, you could actually shove some matches in there, and you could have some tinder inside here, and you've kind of got a little all-in-one fire kit source. So I've got some extra, this is actually natural cotton, and some of this stuff I use for classes. If I'm ever going to give a class, I just grab some of these supplies, put it in my little instructor case to teach a Firecraft class. Likewise, have some other various styles containers. So these here, and I think I have some of these in these awns as well. Let me see here. Pretty sure I do. Yeah. So these are, I did a video called Super Match, and so I have some super matches in here. This is pretty awesome. It's just corrugated cardboard. You shove some matches in the little honeycomb areas, dip it in some wax, and this thing will burn very nice. It's a great fire starter. Homemade, cheap, and easy to make. So we got here is just a bunch of these kind of little miscellaneous knickknacks. Here's a fire kit. I think this is flint and steel. So just something I picked up along the way. Helps me open it on the right side. Oh no, this isn't flint and steel. So this, I think I did a video on this one too. I can't remember. Let me see the name of it here. So this is Firelight Fire Starter. It's a fiber light mini ferro rod. So this is a little ferro rod, and it's an emergency whistle, which was a kind of a nice addition. And this stuff does really light very good. So it's just a ground fiber that I believe it's been soaked or treated in something, and it ignites very well. So as you'll see, pretty sure I have a flint and steel set that looks kind of like this in here too. We'll see it as we go along. There's just some different things in here. Match blaster, if you're not familiar with these, it's just a ferro rod, and you can kind of squeeze it. Actually, it helps you do it right. Squeeze it, give you a little fire spark, if you will. Put that in here. I have a little grading thing. So I'm a big fan. I don't know if I have any in here, but I'm a big fan of keeping a pencil sharpener in your fire kit, because you can just take twigs and you can get you some pretty easier tinder. This is kind of a similar concept, only it's a company put it out. You got a built-in little striker and a ferro rod, but it's basically a little cheese grater kind of a style, and it grate it right into here. It's made by Smith's, and it catches that. My experience with this is, honestly, and that's why it's in here and not in my kit, is it's not bad. It's a decent product, but I still prefer just a little pencil sharpener. It takes up less space, and honestly, I found it easier. The benefit to this is this does give you finer tinder, but regular pencil sharpeners worked well for me, so that's why I stick to that. I've got some Modern Warrior ferro rods. I probably have these things mixed all throughout here. Here's a little, basically it's just a little striker. So these are little tiny flints in here. If you had a Zippo without the rest of the Zippo and you just had the striker and the flint, that's what this is, a little sparker. Little sparker tool. Some variety stormproof matches, which are just in general, stormproof matches are awesome. If you haven't had a chance to check those out, I do some videos on them, but definitely I love stormproof matches. You can throw them in sand, put them in water, pull them out. As long as they're lit, it's kind of like a flare. They're not going to go out. So as soon as you pull it back out, it'll still be burning. I have some treated jute, which makes for a great little fire starter stuff. And then I have this survival lighter. So this little thing here is nice, but it does, with enough time, it is going to dry up. So it's basically like a little Zippo style lighter. It does have a seal on it, and it will last a good while. And it's waterproof when it's like this, but it's not completely airproof because the fluid does eventually evaporate. So I've tested in water, comes out no problem. However, as you see, it's not lighting, so that fluid has evaporated on its own. I didn't like run it out or leave it open. So it's a nice Nice piece of equipment, but you do need to keep up with it. I don't know how long it takes. I haven't done a test to see how long before it evaporates. So that's that. Let's put all this back and let's go to the next thing. And so that is it for the top case. Set this off to the side. As you see, I mess with fire stuff a lot. I even have some, here's some char cloth that I had out. I think there's some actual char sticks in here, which I did a video on. It's probably why it's sitting here on my thing. I forgot to put it up. I love the art of Firecraft. Mainly because I didn't know how to start a fire for garbage as a teenager, if I'm honest with you. My method of starting a fire as a teenager, I grew up in Dallas, so I'm not a country boy by nature, was to throw a bunch of sticks on there and a couple cans of lighter fluid until it took. And most of the time it would eventually take. But that was my youth. So I love the art of Firecraft and the realization as I started learning this in some of the military schools that fire is not that complicated if you understand the recipe and you understand how to do it. You don't need really anything. Well, you need some stuff, but you don't need much to get a fire going. All right, so my second kit. Let's talk about this one. So this, or not second kit, but the second compartment in this kit. This has 6 containers and then has a center area with a lot of stuff. Make sure I tip that so you can see it good. And then here's kind of more of the same but different stuff. So up in this tab here, I have a lot of different kind of wet fire type and some of those old military fuel tabs. So we got wet fire, military fuel tabs, and I can't remember the brand. This is one of the common camping brands, I think, but same thing. Fuel tabs, heat tabs. They light up and they burn. They're not all created equal. Some of them light up easier than others. So we have one of those. We have 2 of those. Those look like all military style fuel tabs. Looks like I can put it back in the container. I have a bunch of extra lighters. They should all be in working condition. Although if they weren't working, I'd still probably keep them. But a bunch of lighters. The Flint's still good. I just wouldn't keep them in there. I have some thing of Duraflame fire starter cubes. These are one of my favorites. I did a video on this. If you get a chance, check it out. And if you get a chance to get some of these, which they're cheap at Walmart or any other big box store, they're relatively cheap. I keep some of these in my kit because it's probably one of my favorite fire cheats, if you will. Light and they burn great and cost cheap too, all in all. I have a ton of high-end ferro rods that we used to use for all of our students. These were expensive, I remember, when I bought them. But now we use our modern Warrior ferro rod, which is just as good. I think it might be not quite as long, but on the plus side, it has a handle. Yeah, it's a little shorter. I'd say probably 1/2 inch to 1 inch shorter than that one. But this one's great and very much better price than that one for you guys. Bunch of matches, wooden matches, some Sweet Fire fire starter. So I have just a lot of different fire starters in here. You'll see Sweet Fire fire starter. So this is a little fire kit I put together. I may have made a video on it, might not have, but it's just a small little Dollar Tree. I think I put this together from Dollar Tree. Just a fire kit. It's got some, looks like some lighter or some matches, some probably some Vaseline soaked cotton galls in there. I've got a little 6-hour burn candle. Looks like it might be cut down a little bit, but a candle, yeah, just a demonstration of, it doesn't take a big budget. It just takes a little creativity you can put together. This is more than sufficient for a bug out bag and perfectly great fire starter to have in your bag. I always prefer a ferro rod, but I mean, this is very cheap, easy to put together. And you know, when you get cash, get a ferro rod. Some extra Vaseline just for making some of this stuff. This is a Zippo, I forget the name of it, but it's basically a stormproof. You got the striker down here for these matches, waterproof container. And these things are pretty nice. They burn a good fair amount of time, as you can tell by the size. They're monsters. So little Zippo stormproof matches. Have some tea candles, which work good to throw in some of those fire kits. I have these, I bought these off of, I think, Temu or somewhere, one of those cheap China sites, and they're supposedly fire starters. They're little pieces of plastic. They will light with a lighter, but I've never done a video on them because I just don't see, and I haven't spent a lot of time on them, but my little tiny bit of testing effort I spent, I didn't see much value in them. Some general fire sticks, a little larger. Some Sweet Fire strikeable fire starters, which are kind of like their fire cubes, only a little smaller, and they have the built-in, it's like a match strike. They're pretty decent. Some more stormproof matches, probably with a container it looks like. Nope, just boxes. Stormproof matches from GoFire. Some utility flame, which is good stuff. It's probably not what this is. This is probably better, but alcohol hand sanitizer. Great fire starter to utilize. And it's kind of, like I said, they probably have some proprietary blend that makes it even better. But in general, little tiny bottle of alcohol hand sanitizer is a great thing to have and use for a fuel accelerant or a fire accelerant. Some general waterproof matches, 6-hour candles, some go bag size, I think they call them camping or something to that effect, flares. Some more strike-a-fire type stuff, which is similar to that bag, I think. It's basically you strike this, and I actually did a video on these, and they surprised me because my experience a lot of times with the built-in striker, and I guess they've come a long way over the years, is that it doesn't last long enough to truly ignite the stick or whatever it is attached to or built into. In the case of this, it did a good job, and it actually I was impressed by it. I remember that. So Eco Fireballs, Eco Fire Starter. I have not had a chance to test these out yet, but basically they're just these little, assumingly treated fire starter balls. Great for camping. It looks a little bigger than something I'd probably shove into my bag, but maybe your bag, it would work good in. I haven't tested them out yet, so I can't speak to whether or not they're good or bad, but that's it. So that is it for the second section of this kit. I'll put it all back together and we'll go through the last one. Okay, so for our third kit, I'll go ahead and put the whole thing up here. It's a little easier to go through up here. As you see, what's nice about this, and as I said, they're all different. Like the other kits I have, they don't have the same setup as that, but they have the same concept. Almost all of them, I have one that's not, but almost all of them have like a 2 smaller and then 1 larger, which is nice. So it allows you to fit some of your, and most of them have a compartmentalized thing and then an open type case. And then you have the big thing, which allows you to better sort some, I got my bigger stuff in here where it won't fit in those. So I love the system. Cannot say enough how much it's helped me organize my stuff instead of having to dig through, Pelican cases or Tupperware boxes or whatever it might be. I know exactly pretty much where most of my stuff is now and find it very quickly, which is, for me, was a huge thing. A battle that I fought for years. So in here you have a tray, and then you basically have just an open area. If I can do all that without throwing this stuff off. So I have a few things in this tray. I have some fire starter logs, pencil sharpeners. I have a few different pencil sharpeners in here. And I do keep pencil sharpeners in all of our go bags and all my loadout kits as well. I have some general, just fat wood. Actually, that might not be fat wood, but I do have some in here somewhere. Some general strike fire starters like we discussed earlier. I have thick and thin. Either that or that's too, no, never mind. I just have the same, this is just together, stuck together. So a bunch more of these in here. I have some just general, they're like these little fire starter granules. I'm pretty sure I did in one of my videos, I compared this to something else. So just some Instafire fire starter granules. And really, if I'm honest, once you open a lot of things like this, it's probably not ideal. You probably need to reseal it or use it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this diminishes or deteriorates over time. So next time, if I remember, next time I do some kind of campfire or something, I'll probably use this up because eventually it's going to absorb moisture, I would assume, and diminish its quality. Some more of our Modern Warrior GoFire ferro rods. And here I have a number of, and I sell these too. I think I have them on our site. But basically it's just a blow tube for helping to control your fire. And I don't see the whole thing in here. Let me see. Actually, yeah, I do. Little, what are these called? It's a solar fire starter. But basically, this thing goes onto here. I won't put it together right now. I won't take the time. It's not hard. I just gotta put my glasses on and figure it out. But basically, this thing goes onto here, and it allows you to use the sun to start a fire with whatever specific tinder you put on here. I've been able to do it a number of times with char cloth. A regular, anything else you probably could, but char cloth is not too hard to, this actually serves its purpose pretty well. It's just a little solar dish, I don't know what you call it. But it's for using the sun to start your fire, kind of like a magnifying glass. How you ever shine a little magnifying glass and you start a fire on a piece of paper or get it to burn through. Same concept for fire starting. We've got some, these are basically from, if I remember right, it's from Seattle or somewhere in Washington State. And it's just basically a good old wood mixture of some stuff that ignites pretty well. Someone just found a way to take good fire wood chips and market them and sell them well. So good on them. A little bit more of the same, a little bit better put together. These are some GoFire all natural fire starters. They're little balls, kind of like that fireballs, look similar but different. Just another fire starter. Got a lot of different extra raw supplies as far as the cotton and also cotton disc, which I like. It's same concept with your petroleum jelly. Another thing on the first one, which is irrelevant to you, but the cotton that I pulled in that first one, that was natural. I'd actually picked it out here in the field, so natural versus processed, if you will. I've got some more general fire starters, some of the GoFire type. What's the name? Let me see if I can remember the name of this. This stuff is pretty awesome if you haven't seen it. I keep meaning to make a video with this and I haven't yet. This is calcium carbide. So if you're not familiar with calcium carbide will light ice on fire. You can light ice on fire or water. So when calcium carbide mixes with water, it ignites. It's pretty cool. Back in the older days, they used to make lanterns, and I've considered trying to make one or buy one, but they used to, like for mines and such, they had lanterns that had a drip, calcium carbide in there, and then a little drip function, and it would have a little fire going for a headlamp, essentially. Pretty cool. I've played around with it a number of times. This stuff is no joke. It is volatile. It lights fire, or not lights fire. It lights up water or ice. Some fire starter logs. Another little fire kit that I've put together in like a pencil bag. Same concepts of the other stuff you've seen. Some dryer lint in there, ferro rods. Looks like I got a match and some of that fuel tabs. A little straggler Army fuel tab. Some more Sweet Fire strikes. This is one of my instructor kits that I'll use, plus up. And basically all I have in here is a lot of different kindling or fire accelerant sources. And so during a class, I'll show or have the students test the different things so you get an idea. Oh, this lights up super easy. This isn't as good as I thought it was. Everything from some gunpowder to some of that Vaseline swabs versus regular cotton ball versus hand sanitizer. There's a lot of different stuff. Another little neat product in here, I'm not sure why I have it in here, but it's in here, is Live Fire. This thing, I got this years ago. I believe they sent it to me to test it. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, got it years ago, and what it is, it's a little, just slides open, and it's like a coated rag, if you will, some type of material that's coated, and this thing lights real easy, and you just slide it up under your kindling, and then once the kindling takes, you pull it out, close it up, and it goes out. It's actually a pretty good product. I like it. You still have to light it, of course, which is always one of the things to consider. And then these are pretty popular. I've seen these at Harbor Freight and a lot of other places. And it's basically just a magnesium block with a little ferro rod built in. So you scrape you some magnesium, which gives you a little more burn, and then you strike it. And if you've got a decent tinder bundle, it's going to give you a little more burn with that magnesium shavings in there. So just one little fire kit, instructional kit. This is something, I think I got this in a battle box when I was still subscribed, which I canceled my subscription. Nothing on battle box. I just have so much, and I was getting so much of the repetitive stuff that I just didn't need. I thought, well, let me take that money and just actually direct shop. So no more battle box videos in the short term for me. But this is a pretty neat product. I think it's a cool piece of art, if you will, in the area of fire starting, but not, and I haven't used it yet, but not something per se that fits in a go bag. But basically, these little, you break this apart and this puts together kind of like a little pyramid, and it lights right up, kind of as you see there. So a little plug for Uberleben. I have not done it yet, so I can't speak to how amazing or how poor it is, but the concept's kind of nice. It's like I said, I don't see it so much as a survival supply as more of a cool art blend of Firecraft, if you will. But I want to say this company has some other products that are pretty cool as well, and that I do like for some reason, because I know I've looked at them before. Either way. All right, so we've got some, this was some Dollar Tree fire starter. Like I found this at a Dollar Tree store, and I tested this in one of the videos, and I believe it, I don't think it performed as good as the higher end stuff, but it performed all right. It's Dollar Tree. I mean, not bad. Some general strike on box matches, strike anywhere matches. I don't know if they outlawed them or what. I can't find those things anymore. I should do a Google search. I just haven't. But for whatever reason, I can't find strike anywhere matches. There is a Mexican brand match, actually made in Mexico, and I think you have to get it online. That's pretty cool. I don't think it's strike anywhere, but it is really, it burns really good and really hot. Not stormproof level, but pretty cool match. So I've got a number of, these are just some manufactured bow and drill kits. I've got a number of those in here. It looks like 4. So basically it's just a bow and drill kit. Bought these because I saw them and wanted to play around with them. Haven't done a lot with them. I know my son, Joshua, has messed with his a bit and enjoyed it. All right, this one popped open on me here, so let's see what here. One of my containers popped open. So I have a fire piston kit. It's pretty cool if you ever seen a fire piston. Basically, you pop, you put your little tinder in there and you compress it, and that compression causes it to ignite an ember for you. The fire piston kit, I probably didn't explain that perfectly scientifically, but you get the concept. This must be the flint and steel. Yeah, so a little flint and steel set. And I think that is it, minus a few more of those discs that I was talking about. So that's my extra fire kit equipment and gear, and the storage system I use. If you like this video, let me know if you'd like to see more of some of my other ones, because I have, like I said, I have 8 or 10 of these types of sets. I know I've got like a water one. I've got a camping, like shelter accessory one. Anyway, if you'd like to see me go through some of these others, let me know. And if not, then I won't. But at a minimum, I wanted to convey this concept for organization because I love it. Hopefully you find it useful. If you have a different system of organization that really works out for you, by all means, share it with me. Also, if you see something that I don't have in this, which I don't have everything in this because I got a lot of it in my kit, but I think I cover a broad range of most of what I do have. If there's some cool fire product out there that I didn't hit on, let me know. Maybe I'll check it out. I can think of some that aren't in here that I want to check out, but by all means, maybe something new I haven't seen. I got that extra money from the no longer battle box subscription to buy that kind of stuff. So let me know what you think. Any comments, please. If you did enjoy this, hit a like and subscribe. It helps the channel growth. And until the next time, safe travel and stay safe.